Hey, what's going on, guys? Bandai has released their next round of announcements for the beginning of 2026, January and February, in their latest Next Phase hobby event, and we're going to talk about them here in today's video. There wasn't a ton of announcements, but some really interesting stuff. Some stuff that may not look too interesting or too new on the surface, but once you take a second glance at it, you might realize, oh, there's actually kind of a bit more to this than I expected, and some very surprising things that I was not expecting at all, but I was very happy to see among these announcements. So let's get right into it here for today's video, starting off with the Gunpla Options Set 19. This is a fin funnel set. It's basically going to be branded as a part of Bandai's option parts set line, when essentially this is for the entry grade new Gundam, but of course, being an option set, you can use it with whatever you want. But this is going to finally give us a set of fin funnels for the entry grade new Gundam, which, as you guys may remember, did not include the fin funnels for some strange reason. Being a very integral part of the new Gundam's design, it did certainly feel a bit like something was missing from the entry grade kit, as nice as that kit is. But now with this option part set, we will not only be able to give the new Gundam finally its fin funnels, as well as the bazooka and beam sabers here with this. So some really great stuff to finally have a complete entry grade new Gundam. And of course, you could always buy two of this set if you wanted to give it the double fin funnel set and the double bazookas, double beam sabers, kind of all that good stuff. So this is going to be coming out in January for 1,500 yen, a pretty reasonable price. Moving on then to a very surprising announcement here in the Figurized lineup. We got the Figurized standard Tifa Adil from Gundam X. Myself being a big fan of Gundam X. It's a series I watched many years ago. I should probably rewatch it. Maybe it doesn't hold up as well as I remember, but I enjoyed it, and I've always kind of felt that I wish we would get more stuff out from Gundam X, because we very rarely do. And so I was pleasantly surprised to see that we're at least getting something from Gundam X. I would have preferred a new Gundam kit, like a new HG or even a new MG, or like a full mechanics kit or something like that would have been really cool. There's a lot of great designs from the series. One that would definitely be near the top of the list for me would be like the Ver.Ka. I really love if we got like an HG or even like a full mechanics 1/100 scale Ver.Ka to go along with like the master grade X and double X Gundams would be really cool. But I don't know, maybe this is a sign of things to come. Perhaps maybe next year we'll see maybe one or even two model kits out from Gundam X. Two, I think, is probably a lot to hope for, but with this Figurized standard Tifa Adil coming out, hopefully that means that maybe we'll get maybe an HG Gundam from the series or something, like the Leopard or something. Could be cool. I definitely take this as a good sign anyway. This is going to be coming out in January for 3,800 yen. Looking forward to that. Up next then from Gundam Seed, we have the HG Legend Gundam that's going to be coming out. This one also looks really nice. Certainly a huge improvement over the old one. As I've talked about many times here on the channel, the original Gundam Seed and Seed Destiny HG lines, have a lot of really cool designs, but the kits unfortunately came out at a time when HG kits, the proportions, the articulation, the seam line coverage, things like that was just not quite as good as the HG kits that we get out these days. So the more of the Seed series that gets kind of these revamp or revive style model kits in the HG line is definitely a very good thing. And yeah, this is a huge improvement over the original HG, and it looks really nice. The backpack is certainly much larger than it was on the original one, and a lot of proportion changes generally, but I just really like the look of how this one is looking, and I think it's going to be very nice. So that'll be out in January as well for 2,800 yen. Last thing that we have for January is, of course, the HG G-Quax Endymion Unit Awakening version. So this is something that we saw recently at a hobby event. I think we saw this at Shizuoka actually a couple months ago. So this is not anything new. This is basically going to be the same HG G-Quax kit, now with different parts for the head to make the opening mouth, which interestingly was something that as soon as like the G-Quax design was revealed, there was already people like theorizing about an opening mouth gimmick to it, just because the way the head was shaped, it kind of looked like that. And then just obviously because of like having Anno there and having like the Evangelion influences there, I think that a lot of people were expecting this. So anyway, it's kind of funny how it did work out for that to be the case. But we have new parts for the head for the opening mouth gimmick. We also have new effect parts for the shoulders and the sides of the legs that do look pretty cool there as well. For the most part, it's going to be the same kit, but if you've not yet built the kit, I would definitely recommend it. It's a really nice kit. If you passed on the original, you can still now get the original kit, but if you passed on the original, maybe go for this new version that's going to be coming out in January. That one's going to be 2,600 yen. Now moving into February, And keeping with the HD G-Quax line, we have a new version of the Rick Dom that's going to be coming out. This is the Chalia Bull version. So as far as we can tell from what we've seen of this, it basically just looks like a recolor of the regular purple Rick Dom kit that we're getting out in the very near future. I think that's coming out next month, I believe. But I do have to say the design does look super cool in this blue color scheme, so definitely want to check that one out as well. But essentially, again, as far as we can tell, it looks like it's the same kit. It still has that same big bazooka that the Rick Dom has, again, the regular version has, but it's going to have a different color scheme and different color markings and everything. For that, that'll be out in February then for 3,300 yen. Definitely on the higher side, but again, I think it's having like a lot of parts in there and some quite large parts, so it'll be a good amount of plastic in that kit. But all right, so then going from that kind of big HG to a big MG, here we got the announcement of the next MG Ver.Ka is going to be the Master Grade Ver.Ka Full Armor Double Zeta Gundam. Now this one is one that does seem to be causing the most amount of confusion among people, because so far all we have is the line art of that, and just seeing the Master Grade Full Armor Double Zeta Ver.Ka. A lot of people have been thinking, didn't we already get that? And I think there's also there's a mix of confusion between the FAZ and the Full Armor Double Zeta, because people know that FAZ, F-A-Z-Z, stands for Full Armor Double Zeta, but actually the FAZ refers to the Sentinel version, which is the one that we've already got in the past already, the gray and white version, and then the Full Armor Double Zeta refers to the obviously Full Armor Double Zeta Gundam, where it's like the Double Zeta Gundam in its original like Gundam color scheme, red, yellow, blue, white, and then with the full armor parts on it. So there is an old Full Armor Double Zeta Master Grade kit. Basically what we're getting now is a recolored version of the FAZ Ver.Ka into like the Full Armor Double Zeta colors. And then it will have the double beam rifle on the arm. You'll notice is different from the FAZ MG Ver.Ka, and also the head will be different. So we'll have basically different parts for the head, the like Double Zeta Ver.Ka parts for the head, and the Double Zeta Ver.Ka's double beam rifle on the arm. Everything else about the kit will just be the same Double Zeta MG Ver.Ka plus the FAZ armor and cannon parts. Yeah, so it's just kind of a different combination of stuff, basically. So this is not something that is entirely new, and I don't think is actually going to have any new parts in it whatsoever, as far as I can tell. This is definitely a very welcome release, just again, for people who are fans of the design. And what's not to love? A huge, chunky Gundam with a gigantic cannon over its shoulder. It's a pretty cool design, so I'm looking forward to that one for sure. That one will be out in February as well for 11,400 yen. The next one here is also causing some confusion, being the HG Gustav Karl 00 type. This one's coming out in February for 3,500 yen. This would be the Hathaway's Flash version. Now, there was already, of course, the regular HGC Gustav Karl from Unicorn. We had the Unicorn version, and then we also had the P. Bandai Girin's Greed version as well, which does look very similar in color to this new 00 type version from Hathaway's Flash. And so I think a lot of people have been just thinking like, oh, it's just another recolor of the Gustav Karl once again, and it's not even that different of a recolor. But if you actually look at them side by side, and if you also saw the video that Bandai put out, they put out, I don't know if it was live or not, but they had a video out on their official channel there where it kind of shows them talking about it more, talking about all of these new releases. But you could see in that video, and then you can also see just if you look at the two pictures side by side, that it's a completely new kit. So like every part of the kit has changed. The only part that looks like it may be recycled is maybe like the shoulder shield, but otherwise I don't think that there's going to be very much of this kit that's going to be recycled from the previous version of the Gustav Karl, which is pretty interesting for a mobile suit that's not like the most popular mobile suit by any means. It's getting like a completely redone version where it's like very similar to the previous version, but just, slight proportion changes and detail changes around here and there. Basically like every single part that you look at on the kit looks like, very similar at a glance, but if you look at it, side by side, you can see they're actually different. The kneecap's different, the foot's different, the shape of like the shoulder vent's different, the shape of the chest vents is slightly different. So it's a pretty interesting and unique case in that Bandai doesn't really do that type of release very often, this kind of variant like that. It might just be like a recolor, but in this case, it's not only just a recolor, but the entirety of the kit is all new, but it's like the same base design, but a fully new kit. So anyway, it's really cool. So that will certainly be interesting. And then with the second part of the Hathaway's Flash movie coming out, I think that's probably why this is going to be releasing at the beginning of next year in February, because it'll probably be something that's going to be featured in the movie, we can assume. Last but certainly not least then is next in the MGSD lineup. We're getting the Destiny Gundam, and this one looks really cool as well. I've always had nothing but good things to say about the MGSD line. If you guys still have not tried it, I would still highly recommend you guys to try it out, because all the releases so far have been absolutely fantastic. So the Destiny Gundam, I'm sure, is going to be no different. Now, as far as the official art goes, we still only just have this single image. I'm sure we'll be getting some more soon, as these announcements came out about 36 hours ago, almost 2 days ago. You know, I'm sure you've probably seen all about these already on social media, but I usually like to wait a day or so just because I want to wait to see if we'll get some more images out, some more information out, because sometimes we'll get like a single image out at first, and like a day later we'll get some more images, and probably by the time you guys see this video, maybe my timing will work out in that more images will have released. But at the moment, now we still only have this single image. But going back to Bandai's video, they did also show off the Wing of Light effect parts that are also going to be included with this. So again, just like with the recent HD Revive version of the Destiny Gundam, it is going to include the Wing of Light effect parts in the box with the kit, which is awesome. It's not going to be a separate P Bandai thing, so that's really cool. And I think even more incentive to try out this kit, again, especially if you've not tried out the MGSD line yet. Definitely check out the Destiny Gundam because it looks like it's going to be a really nice one out in February for 4,500 yen. And that's it for all the announcements. Now, there was just one thing that I want to end on, talking about the pricing of these kits, because this is something that comes up every time when Bandai announces new kits. There's always, you know, some confusion about how pricing works. So just again, a reminder to you guys, the prices that I'm telling you in this video is just the Japan like base MSRP price. For the fin funnel set, for example, I told you the price of 1,500 yen. On a lot of sites, you might see it as 1,650 yen. That's because they're including the 10% sales tax in Japan in the price, which is something you see a lot of online. And the other main point of confusion that you're going to see a lot of online is people taking the Japan MSRP price, putting that into a conversion calculator into US dollars, and expecting that that's what the dollar price is going to be here in the US. Like take, for example, the MG Destiny Gundam at 4,500 yen. That converts to just over $30 US. You are not going to be able to get that kit here in the US for $30. You might be able to order it from Japan, or if you're visiting Japan, you might be able to get it for, 4,500 yen there. Like with all Gunpla sold here in the US, the prices here in the US are not based off the Japan MSRP. They're based off of the Bandai US MSRP, which is set by the Bandai here in the US. They have a different pricing for what they sell their kits to retailers, and so then retailers are going to have a different price for what they sell kits to you guys at. So like, for example, the previously released MG Wing Gundam 0 EW also had an MSRP of 4,500 yen. That sells for retail here in the US for between $45 and $55, certainly much more than the converted $30. So just as an example there. And then even in that respect, the price variance, just to get even a little bit more in the weeds here on the topic, but say, for example, if you see like that particular kit, some sites, for example, between $45 and $50, whereas like, for example, here at USA Gundam Store, we have it for $54.99, just as an example, because ours is a pre-order price for a restock that's going to be coming later. The reason for the higher price is because Bandai has recently increased the price of that kit, as they did with a lot of kits recently, up 10%. And so, for example, if you see a store that has the kit in stock now for, $48, that may be because that they got that kit, when it was the cheaper price from Bandai, and so they're able to sell it at a cheaper price. Whereas, for example, in the case of like our pricing here at USA Gundam Store, that's a restock that we're getting for the higher price from Bandai, so it's going to have the higher price again to you guys. With the cost of everything going up these days, unfortunately, even Bandai's prices on their kits to retailers, and then retailers also have to increase their prices to you guys. It's an unfortunate situation, and also with the situation of just having a harder time getting stuff from China and Japan here to the US. It's a tough time to be in the business for sure. A lot of kind of challenges to try to work around, for the suppliers, the retailers, and also for you guys as well. So anyway, just a gentle reminder as to how pricing works, just for you guys to keep that in mind. But let me know which kits you're most excited about from the recent announcements. I got to say, there's a lot of really cool stuff. I'm very hopeful that we'll see something from Gundam X next year after the Tifa figurized standard kit. And honestly, looking forward to all that new stuff. Looks really cool. The new Gustav Karl, I got to say, I definitely really like the new proportion updates to the new version of the Gustav Karl that's coming out. I'm not a huge fan of that new color scheme, but you can always change the color scheme. So that'll be one that I might work on once we get that one in here. But that's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for all your support. If you want to pre-order any of these items, you can do so at the link in the video description to USA Gundam Store right down there below the video. Check that out. And as always, guys, thank you so much for all of your support. See you next time. Bye-bye.